So this is a quick case study on exactly how to close $6,000 plus clients without sales calls. So as of writing this document, I've closed over 100K in deals without ads and with no sales calls. I do this completely with one single Google Doc, and that doc has closed deals with massive companies over the past year, and I don't even have to talk to them over the phone. And I've signed over 50 plus clients this way and pulled in over at least 150K in the last few months, only working 3 to 4 days a week, and my clients are doing it too. So in this video, I'm going to be walking you through the exact way I close 6K plus clients through a doc and the DMs step by step. As you can see here, there's just a bunch of screenshots of client payments and a few 6Ks here as well. If you're someone who hates sales calls, or you simply like freeze up on them, or simply keep getting ghosted on the call, after the call, this is probably the only video you need to watch. As you can see here, I had a few more screenshots. So we had 100K in GBP in collected volume from sales. This is 20K to 30K MRR every 2 weeks added to a brand new Stripe account. There's another 4K month client being signed there for 6 months. They work with Apple, Schwarzkopf, etc. And just a small one, but one of our clients booked a meeting with Ubisoft, which is clearly one of the largest game publishers on the planet. And I'm just going to walk you through now, like, why are the sales calls actually costing you deals? So the sales call isn't really helping you close. Most of the time, it's the reason you're losing the deal in the first place. So let's think about what actually happens on most sales calls. So you get on, you're nervous, they're already like naturally skeptical and defensive, and the whole thing turns into some kind of interrogation instead of a conversation. You end up rambling. I've personally reviewed hundreds of sales calls by this point, and it's the same exact story every single time. There's no clear path, no direction. It's just like throwing spaghetti at a wall and hoping it sticks. This prospect already has too much time to overthink. They end up coming up with new objections and they end up talking themselves out of the sale. And you end up blocking out an hour of your day for someone who was never going to buy anyway. And if you're closing under 20% of your calls, which most people watching this video probably are, that means you're sitting there wasting your entire day as well. So the worst part is that the higher the ticket, the more people believe they need a call. It simply isn't the case. So they end up trapping themselves, more calls, more delivery, more stress and less money. And it's completely backwards. So what I figured out was people don't buy it because you get them on a call. They buy it simply because they trust you and they can clearly see how you're going to solve their problem. That's it. A call is just one way to build that. And honestly, it's the slowest, most stressful and least reliable way of doing this stuff. So instead of trying to be a better closer, like increase my close rate, etc., I just decided to remove the sales call completely and build trust in a different way. And once I started doing that, my close rate went up, my stress went down, and I got my time back, which means I can now focus on signing 5 to 10 plus new clients a week, now working 3 to 4 days. There's no call marathons required. I don't need to like ram energy drinks all day to stay up and do calls. But if you're currently trying to scale and you're stuck in a loop of sales calls, delivery, and honestly, you're just feeling really trapped, that's what we help people fix. So here's how we helped Holly add 8K MRR in her first week. And simply just 1 month later, after deploying everything, she hit 30K MRR for the first time ever, just slightly over that, 31.4. And she said this is her biggest month ever in business. And it's the best month she's had in at least 30 months of trying like all these different types of like client acquisition stuff. And then we had Ephraim, who signed 6 clients last week and added 14K MRR to his business. And his wife is super happy and she's less anxious about the whole process. He said he signed 6 clients and the 7th coming in on Friday. So it's another 7 clients instead of 6. So if you run any type of B2B business, service or consultancy biz, click the link somewhere below this video, book a call with myself directly and join these people who are adding thousands of dollars of real recurring monthly revenue to their business every single day without calls. So let's just get back into this document real quick. But we've noticed that taking away the call does create a problem, okay? So if you're not getting a call, how does the prospect actually understand what you do and why they should pay you? Because you still have to build trust in some capacity, in some way, shape or form, okay? And the answer to that is the single most important asset in my entire business. So let me just show you how that works. I came up with something called the strategy map. It's basically a document that closes for you. So the thing that replaced the sales call for me is what I call a strategy map. And essentially it's just a Google Doc really, but it's a Google Doc built to do one specific job. It's going to sell for you while you sleep. So here's why strategy map beats a traditional sales call every single time. Number one, a call happens once, and if you fumble it, it's gone. Okay, a doc can be read, reread, and forwarded to a business partner or any other decision maker who might also need to say yes to working with you. People buy when they visualize how you solve their problem. Okay, and a Google Doc lets you lay that out instead of hoping you can explain it well on a live call. Number three, it removes you being nervous, you being tired, you having an off day. The doc says the same thing perfectly every single time without you having to even get involved in that process. And whales, aka the people who can actually pay you and afford your services, they don't really want endless back and forth, right? They want clarity, proof, and a clear path. A doc gives them exactly that on their own time. And simply, lastly, it kills objections before they ever come up because you've already answered them inside the document itself. So let's talk about quick what actually goes into a strategy map document. And it's really simple, okay? You map out where your ideal prospect is right now and the problem they're stuck on, and then you paint the picture of where they want to get to. So a specific goal, a specific outcome, maybe something they've tried before but didn't have much luck or results with, and then you simply show them the bridge, okay? So this is simply the most clear-cut path from A to B, and you position your specific offer as the vehicle that gets them across the bridge faster and with less headache or less pain points. So to put it bluntly, I've had a 2 mil startup close off the back of one of these strategy maps with no call required. Prospects read it, they understand what I'm talking about, and closing becomes a formality, okay? It just gets easier. And it's not magic, okay? It's just clarity, just simply put in front of the right person. Talking aimlessly doesn't really close anything, but clarity does. If you can concisely put your offer in front of someone who is in a significant amount of pain, maybe they've tried something before, like I mentioned, didn't work, putting this document in front of them helps them internalize it, visualize it, and execute on the decision to work with you or not, okay? So the doc, like I mentioned, only works if the person reading it actually has money and actually has the problem you solve, right? Because if you send it to the wrong person, it will do nothing. So the real question then becomes, how do you get this document in front of the right people who are already warm, already hurting, and are ready to buy? They're in a buying state, right? And that's where it's very easy to mess this stuff up. And that's what I want to show you next. So how do we get this document in front of warm buyers? And that's where I'm going to introduce to you now the siphon model. So this is a simple mistake that everyone makes. They think they need to build this massive audience first before they can sell anything. That's why people waste like 2 to 3 years, maybe even more sometimes, posting endlessly with nothing to show for it. And you don't need to do that. Most of the time, most people that start working with me, they're relying on referrals and networking and all that kind of stuff to sign clients. They've built a business that is basically built on word of mouth. So when that pool dries up, they've got no one to then pay them, okay? No one to then sign. And I do all of this stuff, by the way, with less than 3,000 followers, combined across all platforms, YouTube, X, LinkedIn, whatever. And I'm closing companies doing millions with this stuff. And the reason building an audience from scratch is such a trap is because it takes forever. And while you're waiting for all of that compound of content to start performing for you, you end up poorer than when you first started because you're probably in a position where you need clients now, not like 2 or 3, 4, 5 months down the line where they start coming to you from your content. Also, number 2 is like attention without intent is pretty much worthless, right? A big following full of people who never buy does nothing for your bank account. And you're competing with 1,000 other creator type people or agencies or consultancies or whoever for the same amount of attention or eyeballs. And most people quit before the audience is ever big enough to make a difference in their business. So instead of building, I siphon. There are people in your space who've already spent 3 to 4 years buying an audience of exact buyers that you want to work with or sell to. Okay, coaches, consultants, agency owners, startups, whoever it may be, all of these guys will have warm, engaged followings online. And I simply just go to these audiences and speak to the people directly, speak to the audience directly. And this move is dead simple, right? So I find someone, usually a competitor, whose audience overlaps with my buyer, and I reach out to the followers with something like, hey, notice you follow a competitor. We just help client get result in time frame. Do you want similar results or a similar kind of CTA? Okay, that's it. And because we're naturally already in the same ecosystem, myself and the prospect, I'm not some random cold stranger. So this approach lands a bit warmer. Then once they reply and I've gone through some form of qualification process, which involves their current MRR, where they're currently at, where they want to get to, some other things potentially holding them back, I naturally send them the strategy map, which acts as the bridge between where they are and where they want to be. That's what I mentioned earlier. And then that's the entire system. Okay, so it's very straightforward. I'll just show you some examples real quick. So qualified this prospect here. I've sent them details with a document and I'm just like, let me know if you're in or have any questions. Thanks. Just to clarify, this is through cold email, etc. Do I need to set up the servers and email accounts, blah, blah, blah. Handle that objection or that question that you had. And I was like, no, obviously you don't need to do that. We'll either do it for you or build it out for you so you don't need to touch any of that stuff. And you can see here that he's all set for next Wednesday and is already paid. Okay, we've got another one here where we agreed on the document and strategy we were going to do. Agreement sent, and then he just sent the payment, and then we'll simply just kick off the onboarding process. That's through WhatsApp. So you can use any type of traffic. You can take them off X, you can take them off LinkedIn, you can take them off cold email, bring them into your own personal WhatsApp funnel as well. And you can just start like texting and closing people in the DMs. Another one here, this is just simply just showing a payment. What's the next steps? What do you need from me, etc. In this case, we were doing more of a done for you build with this client. We simply just handle and run the campaigns end to end and drop the replies to your email and Slack, and then just paid through the DMs. Very simple. That was just really to give you an idea of what kind of conversations are happening and just to show that this model actually works. But there's still one piece that scares people the most of this kind of stuff, and it's the reason a lot of you would still chicken out, even with the perfect document and the perfect script and the perfect lead right in front of you, and it's the price, okay? So how do you actually charge 6K plus without a call to justify it, right? So I'm just going to break that down real quick because it's easier than you think. So this is how to actually price and close without the call. And this is the part that most people get stuck on, and they believe you can't ask for $6,000 up front or 10 grand up front without hopping on a call to warm it up. And I understand why, because it can be simply perceived as a big number. Maybe you're not used to charging that much. Maybe it's smaller retainers, like whatever the case is. And no face-to-face communication can feel risky or abnormal. But the way you fix that isn't with a call. It's the offer itself. So this is why people freeze on high ticket. It's because a big retainer or upfront fee creates hesitation. And with too much hesitation, you're thinking the number, like it's too big. What if nobody closes? That hesitation is just too much to think about all at once, okay? And the prospect sees risk everywhere, and they're always looking for reasons to say no. No isn't a problem. No is a natural disqualifier. We can ask questions why it's a no, and we can disqualify accordingly based on the criteria we have in front of us. Most people will see 6K and like try to close that all in one, and it's like a giant leap for them, but you can start smaller. But if you are going to hesitate and you are going to, gulp when it's time to go, it's going to trigger every objection in the book. And when you push really hard for the big number cold, you come across desperate, which kills trust instantly with a lot of people. So here's how I actually do it, right? I don't always lead with the 6K all the time. I lead with a low friction offer, something stupidly easy to say yes to, a clear deliverable, a fast win, something small up front, maybe in the region of the $250 to 2K range to start with. For example, I had a client object to a 3.5K month retainer once, okay? Then maybe a day later or 2 days later, I pitched him a smaller $4,750 build off one single WhatsApp message because I framed it as a simple one-time thing rather than a big ongoing scary commitment that he just simply wasn't ready for. And then once they're in and they can see that you actually know your stuff, that's when the bigger number happens. You can even upsell the stuff on the initial onboarding call. You get them in on a small thing, then naturally send them on the big thing. Hey, do you just want me to do this for you? Or some kind of hybrid, done with you, done for you thing. You get them a quick win, you show competence, and then within 24 to 72 hours, like I mentioned, they're hot off making a great decision with you and they're working with you, they're happy, it's all good. You show them the bridge to the bigger outcome. Hey, if you want to pay XYZ, we'll get you XYZ. You can use what you've paid towards this thing, and then naturally you can start sending them through that offer. And then you tie everything to what they actually want, not just money, but there could be like an additional reason behind it or like a hidden reason behind why they are working with you or buying from you or even trying to solve this problem in the first place, like retiring their parents, spending more time with their kids, hanging out with their wife, whatever the case may be, whatever goal that they told you they're chasing or problem they're trying to solve, right? Then that makes the 6K deposits, it's not such a big leap anymore. It's not as scary. It simply becomes the next logical step, okay? There's no call needed for that because the trust was already built by the doc, the win, and the results. So these are just like my final thoughts on the entire process and where we are now. So what I just gave you, the siphon model, the strategy map selling process, the low friction offer, all the pricing mechanisms and thoughts around that, all of that is the entire machine I use to close 6K plus clients without ever touching a sales call. And it's the same machine I install in my clients' businesses that's helped them bolt on 20, 30K and even 40K MRR within weeks or months. And if you want my help, my direct help packaging all of this stuff up, your offer, building your own strategy map, all of the frameworks, scripts, templates, sequences, everything you can possibly need to start closing 6K plus clients in the DMs without sales calls, and simply entirely removing yourself from the day-to-day trenches of having to sit calls all day, being drowned in client work and acquisition, all of that kind of stuff. All you need to do is simply click the link below this video to grab a time to speak with me directly. Just to let you know, I only work with a few select people each month, so don't wait on booking that call. And thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Cheers.